There you go. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Hello, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And I do apologize if my camera is over here on my laptop and I'm working from my desktop. So it's a little bit different right now. But I'm not ignoring you. So my name is Shamir Clemens, and I actually am employed with Health and Human Services Commission. And overall, we're going to be discussing employment initiatives and benefits. Yesterday, if you were on the training, Monty actually discussed most of the information regarding waivers and why Employment First is an initiative in Texas. So today we're going to touch base a little bit on employment services. It's going to go fast. It's a lot of information. You may leave and be like, wait a minute, what did that woman just tell me about benefits? But just keep in mind, this is some of the basic information. And if you need other supports or any information, there are people to help. We're here to help. So just keep that in mind. So just discussing employment, Social Security benefits and how it works and what helps it work. So I think this is some information Monty discussed. So Social Security benefits. What what are some of the things that you've heard? And let's chat. Anybody can spew it out. What are some of the things that you've heard about Social Security benefits and people working? Anyone?
Well, I heard that you don't necessarily lose them because you have a job.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. And did I hear someone else? Okay. So some of the things or some of the common myths and questions that you probably heard are either, if I go to work, I'll lose my benefits. I know that's a common one. Or I can only earn this amount of money before I lose my benefits. I know that's another common one as well. Or how about if I go to work, I stop working, and I won't be able to get my cash benefit back? Panic mode, right? These are all things we've heard. Or for instance, if I go to work, Social Security will send me this letter that I owe all this money that I do not have, right? These are all things that we hear and that we've heard, or scary stories that we've heard about employment. So one thing I want you to know about employment, you can go to work and you can be successful and still maintain your benefits. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, right? So with Social Security, there is a plan with the Social Security Administration, and it's known as SSI, which is a Supplemental Security Income. It's known as SSI or Title 16. These are for people who have a disability and are over the age of 65 and who need help either paying for food or shelter. This is very important to keep in mind. SSI is need-based. Does this person need this service to help them until they're in a better place to obtain employment or some kind of income? It's need-based, okay? Food and shelter, the basic needs, that's it. So SSI helps out while they're trying to get work and health insurance on their own. So this is just in between time to help. This is not meant for permanent income, although sometimes it does result in permanent income for some people, but that is not the intention of why the program was created. With SSI, you can work a long time before the SSI and the cash benefit ends. Okay. So, Title 16 with SSI. What does that mean? Who's included in that, right? So, with SSI, it's going to be a childhood, either a child who has a disability and is under the age of 18, or an adult that has SSI and is age 18 through 65, or SSI aged, and that's going to be age 65 and older. So with SSI, in 2020, $783 is what a person receives. That's it. That's all. If a person tells you they receive $1,100 in SSI a month, they're probably not telling you the truth because it's inaccurate. 783 is the max for 2020. There are people who do receive SSI and SSDI, so please keep that in mind. But however, for 2020, the amount is 783. This amount does change every single year. I know this is being recorded, So for 2021, this number will be different. So please keep that in mind with even if you're speaking with families or any other providers, that the numbers do change annually every year. So here, a person earns 783, but say for instance, this person, they live with their mom and dad, and their mom and dad is providing room and board. So if that's the case, they'll only receive 522 of the 783, and that's because someone else is paying for their room and board, which again, you have to remember, SSI is based on need. So if someone else is providing it, do they really need the full amount? Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. So I discussed that adult receives 783, but if there is a couple or someone who is married, they will only receive 1,175. Again, this is for the 2020 numbers. And that's it. It's not going to be 1,175 per person. It's going to be together as a couple. So please keep that in mind. With SSI, there are also resource limits. It's not documented here, but resource limits basically means a person's only allowed to have this amount of resource on hand or assets, and they cannot go over the assets or it will affect their actual income, their amount for SSI, meaning it can go away, it can go down, or they just won't be receiving it at all. For a single person, the access is $2,000 of resource cash in the bank. And what that basically says is that the person is only to have able to have one car and one home. Okay. And for resource limit for a couple, it's 3,000. Okay, so when you think of SSI, SSI is the cash benefit. With SSI comes Medicaid. So always keep that in mind. You receive SSI, you probably receive Medicaid. Okay. So how much can I earn when I go to work? This is a question that we receive all the time. Unfortunately, there is no cut dry number for that I can just rattle off and be like, okay, if you earn $13, then you can go to work and nothing will affect it. That's not the case. Every person dealing with SSI, every single case is different and has different things going on. However, I can tell you that if you are on an SSI, you can earn up to $35,685 gross a year, or even higher in a calendar year, and you can still either maintain your Medicaid and your cash benefit. Okay. So how much can I earn on SSI, or how many hours can I work on SSI? Those are not the right questions to ask. And although we receive those questions often, you want to think in terms of how can you help me make my SSI work with the job that I want. That's what you want to think with moving forward. Okay. So you have an individual, they're on SSI, they go to work. Oftentimes people, I'm going to lose my benefits, or it's going to go to zero. So what happens, right? I go to work. Okay. So we have someone, they're working. This is their SSI check here. The larger amount of money, which everyone would love. I know I would. And as they continue to working, yes, their cash benefit may go down, and it may even go to zero, but think it's not a bad thing. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because anytime you have SSI, you're an SSI recipient, and you go to work, you always have more cash on hand. And I'm going to explain that to you. So, because you can have more money when you work and are on SSI. Okay. And that's kind of the goal. And also be independent. That's the goal. So I'm going to go over just a little SSI example. And it may be a little confusing due to SSI, they created a calculation. And Cindy, if you like for us to come back and do more trainings on actually calculation and breakdown and how they actually calculate this, we can do that for you as well. So an SSI example, a person receives 783 in SSI. This is what they receive. They receive a paycheck at $470 a month. Depending upon the amount the person earns, the SSI may go down. And here you see, based on calculations, the once 783 did go down to 590.50, and these are based on calculations. But if you think of it, okay, yeah, the 783 did go down to 590, but they also earned 470 a month in working. So at the end of the month, they not only have the 590 in the SSI cash benefit, but they also approximately gain the 470 in net earnings, which gives them a total of the $990.50. So even at the end of the day, they still had more money from working than they originally did with their regular SSI cash benefit. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. Anytime you work, you always have more cash on hand as an SSI recipient. Okay. So when does my SSI cash benefit stop? Like, when does it just stop in 2020? What is the amount that I can earn? So in 2020, and again, I'm going to repeat throughout this recording and this training, the numbers change annually. Okay. So for 2020, a person can earn 1,651 monthly earnings and their SSI cash benefit stops. Okay. Just the cash benefit. That doesn't mean their Medicaid stops. That just means their cash benefit stops. But think again, remember in 2020, the max you can get on SSI is 783. So would you rather have the 1,651 or the 783? It's not hard to decide, right? So with that, even with the cash benefit going away, your Medicaid will still continue. And I know that's one of the biggest things because people want the health coverage. That's important for, everyone needs the health coverage. So Medicaid still continues even after the cash benefit goes to zero, and you earn up to $35,685 or higher a year. This annual growth also changes every year as well. So a person can earn up to this amount and still maintain their Medicaid their Medicaid health service. Okay. So a person receives SSI and they're working. Please keep in mind, remember, SSI is not meant for a lifetime benefit. It is only a temporary needs-based service. So always keep that in mind. And when a person does go to work, they're able to pay for some of their food and shelter with their earnings now. So their cash benefit will go down. Because what SSA, the Social Security Administration, is looking at, okay, I gave you the 783, but now you're working and you're providing for yourself. So do you really need this full amount of 783? Which is why the benefit goes down. Again, you will always, always have more money in your pocket to pay your bills and enjoy life when you work as an SSI recipient. So with SSI, there are also work incentives as well. Some of the work incentives, they help with say for instance, you go to work and for instance, maybe you need a job coach or someone to help. Well, the job coach that amount is actually deducted, which helps kind of keep more money in your pocket as well. And some of the common the incentives are impaired related work expense, and we call it an IRWI. And overall, what IRWI is, it's an expense for items or services that are related to enabling an individual with a disability to remain working. It's basically a support to help them continue working. It's an incentive to help them continue working, okay? The student earned income exclusion, this is a great one, especially for any student, even high school students who are working, students who are going to college, they want to work, but, they must be a student under the age of 22 and they must be attending school regularly, okay? And this is an incentive for up to over $7,000 of money that is not counted while they're attending school and working. That's a great asset. That's a great benefit for someone who is trying to get out into the world and going to school and stuff. That is a really great benefit. We also have the PASS plan as well, which is another work incentive. And we also have a blind work expense. And the blind work expense is very similar to impaired related work expense. And again, these are all different things. There's certain work incentives to allow the individual to keep Medicaid and have lots more money in their pocket. So what are some of the common IRWIs or things that you could think of? So an IRWI, for instance, could be a paratransit, job coaching, the cost of prescription drugs that they actually need for their disability, for them to work. It could be mileage to and from work, and it could also be durable equipment that they need to work. These are all work incentives that are, common IRWIs that are covered for these particular work incentives. And each one is different. The blind work expense work incentive, they have a lot more leeway. With this one, it even covers lunches for blind individuals. And the reason being is because they have great lobbyists who go to lobby for them to make sure they have wonderful benefits as they're going to work. Okay. So I go to work, my cash benefit goes down, but again, what about my Medicaid? What about my health coverage? I need my health coverage, right? So as I stated previously, um, the individual will maintain, they will be able to keep their Medicaid if their earnings up to 35,685 gross or higher. And this is called the SSI 1619B Medicaid. So basically, if this person earns up to this amount, they're still covered. They still have their health coverage. And again, even with them working, they still have more cash on hand. So it's a great asset, it's a great benefit for someone going to work, because let's be honest, we travel, we speak to families all the time. And one of the issues with them traveling, with them working, is that families are scared. Like, okay, the cash benefits goes away. Okay, but what about that health coverage? It's hard to get that back. I've jumped through hoops to get it. We have the plan that we need. We have the providers that work, that we need. We don't want to lose that. So we have these safety nets in place, which is called the 1619B Medicaid, and it's going to help the individuals, going to make sure and maintain that they have the health coverage that they need. Okay, so reporting your income with Social Security every single month. I can't stress this enough. When an individual begins working, it is imperative that they report to the Social Security Administration their earnings. There are certain ways that they can report. There's an app, there's a free app. You can do it on iPhone or Android. They can call this reporting line, the 1-866-772-0953. And they can also mail in the pay stub with cover letters. They can drop them off at the office. However, whatever you do in reporting, please make sure you keep copies of your records and screenshots of everything that you're seeing, because let's just face it, every agency isn't great at keeping documents and paperwork. Everyone just isn't great at keeping tabs. So make sure you keep copies of everything, but also make sure you report every single month, okay? And this is very, very important. The reason why it's important is because oftentimes, even when you do report, you can have an overpayment for SSI. And the reason why is because SSI is either 2 or 3 months behind, right? Especially when you're working. And this is scary because people get letters and they're like, oh my God, they told me I owe them $2,000 or $600. I don't have that money to pay them, right? Okay, so you receive a letter. Don't worry, even though the natural reaction is to worry, right? Don't worry, but do not ignore the letter. What you want to do, if you do receive a letter, there is something, if you are an overpayment and the actual payment is $1,000 or less, you have the right for an administrative waiver. And what this does, it waives the first overpayment to zero. Okay, keep that in mind. That's a golden nugget right there. Okay. And also, if the overpayment is over $1,000, you can ask for a payment plan of $10 to $25 a month. Now, that's a little bit more reasonable, okay? But you do want to call them. You don't want to ignore it, and you don't want to just push it to the side, because the amount owed does grow and it gets larger, so you want to contact them. So again, how much can I earn? Okay, so if you're on SSI, you can earn up to $35,685 in a calendar year. Monty discussed waivers yesterday. And so here, if you're on a waiver, such as HCS, Texas Home Living Class, you can talk to your case manager or service coordinator, and they can help you go through or walk you through working and earning income. And there are also other people in place across the state that can help you as well, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. If you live in a house with roommates and paid staff, also be sure to tell the paid staff you're going to work and you are earning an income. These are all things that need to be taken into account and consideration. So, those people I was telling you about that could help you? Here they are. So here are some of the people. So is there someone who can help me assist? Definitely. We have a Ticket to Work helpline. This is the information here. And overall, what they do, they give basic information on SSI entitled to programs, as well as the effects of earnings and income, as well as cash benefits and health coverage. What do you need to know? We also have community work incentive coordinators, also known as CWICs. And what these are highly trained certified staff, and they're certified by the Social Security Administration under the SSA WIPA program, to where they grant benefits and work incentives. And what they do is provide benefits based on a person's needs. So it's going to be case by case. You can sit down, speak with someone. They can discuss to you the services that the individual needs. They can do case analysis on what you receive, whether it's SSI, SSDI, or both, what you plan to earn, where you want to work, where you thought of working, any kind of training. And guess what? It's all free, but the person has to actively be seeking employment, and they must be receiving SSI or SSDI. And lucky for you, I am actually a certified work incentive coordinator. So if you run into any issues, you can also contact me as well, and I'd be happy to assist. Okay. So who else can I contact if I need some help? There are more people in place who can help with SSI. The SSA Work Incentive Liaison, they are local. You can call and contact them at your local Social Security office, and they'd be happy to speak with you. And here is a link for you to contact them as well, and they'd be happy to discuss, what are your next steps or what's needed to be done. And there are even more people. There are people everywhere that can help you. It's just a matter of who you need to know and who you need to contact. So we have the PABS, which is the Protection and Advocacy for Beneficiaries of Social Security. And what they do, they assist beneficiaries to protect their rights and overcome barriers to employment. This could be resolving employment issues, housing, transportation, provider issues, as well as assist with overpayments. They can all help you here. Okay. We also have the Consumer Benefits Office at your local community centers. What they do is help assist participants with serious and persistent mental illnesses, or IDD services as well. Okay, so these are all people who can help you. Okay, so now Title II. Okay, I want you to take off your hat of SSI and just ignore everything I just told you for a few minutes. Okay, we're going to talk about Title II. It's a little bit different. Now, Title II is another program for Social Security Administration. What Title II is Social Security Disability Insurance. And there are 3 programs that are associated with it. And that's going to be the SSDI, the Child Disability Beneficiary, or the Disabled Adult Child Disability Beneficiary. We either call it CDB or DAC. And then also the Disabled Widow or Widower. With the childhood disability beneficiary, it's more so mom and dad are disabled and they pass away. So the child basically receives the services that the parents, off of the parents who passed. And then we also have the Disabled Widower, right? With the CDB, however, when I train, I like to reiterate multiple times. It is not, if anyone who is a CDB and they want to get married, what they want to do is to not marry anyone who is not a CDB. And the reason why I say that is because someone who is a CDB and they marry someone else who basically receives maybe SSDI, they can lose their benefits. And I mean lose them because, and the reason why is because it's based on someone else's record. It's not based on their record. And unfortunately, once it's lost, it's very different. You can't get back on and receive these services again. So just that's just something I like to put out there. And the reason why, especially in Texas, because Texas is a common law state, and anyone who is recognizing themselves as a married couple who may be receiving CDB or DAC services, it can affect them. So I just like to throw that out there just in case. So Title II, okay, with SSI, you receive Medicaid. Title II, you receive Medicare. Okay. Title II is for an individual who either pays into the program in order to draw benefits. This is not need-based. This is for someone who has worked and who have put into the program and they're drawing benefits that they are qualified for based on the individual's work record. But also a son or a daughter can also receive based on whatever their parents put into this program. Title II is not usually impacted by other income, like you going to work or earning this or that. It's not usually impacted by that. I'm sorry. clicked on something else, I'm sorry. The Title II is more complex. Either you get the cash benefit or you don't. There's no in between. With SSI, the scale kind of can go down, it can go back up, depending on if you're working, not working, it can go back and forth. With Title II, it's yes or no. You're either receiving the cash benefit or you're not receiving it. With Title II, there is a 5-month waiting period from the date the actual person has disability onset. And what that means is there's a 5-month waiting period from when SSA determines the person eligible. And the reason why they have that waiting period is to kind of see, is the person going to improve or not? And if we're going to, in fact, deem them as a Title II recipient, okay? With Title II, we call this the Oprah benefit. The reason being because anybody can apply for it. Oprah can apply for it and receive Title II because she's worked and put into the system. With Title II, there is no resource limit either, okay? So how much can I earn if I get Title II disability benefit? That's a great question. With Title II, it depends on which stage of work you are in. And I'm going to describe a few stages of work. Because with Title II, what they want to do is figure out, okay, this person has a disability. How do we identify if they're able to actually gain wages and earn wages at a substantial amount? And what we call that is SGA, substantial gainful activity. Are they able to sustain employment at this stage? So depending on the stage of work, you either get the full Title II cash benefit or you don't get any cash benefit at all. So stage 1 of Title II is the trial work period. With this, what it is, you receive 9 trial work periods. And the trial work periods are exactly what they are. The trial work periods is basically 9 months based on if you earn over $910 a month, and that is for 2020. So say for instance, Johnny is working, it's January, he earns a trial work period. He earns over $910 in January all the way up to September. He's used his 9 trial work periods. Every trial work period counts as 1 month, okay? And a trial work period is exactly what it is. Let's try this out and give it a try, how this is going to work for Johnny as he tries to get back into the workforce and begin to work and earn wages. So let's just do a trial and see how this works, okay? During this time, SSA just kind of looks at the scale of, are they able to actually earn at a substantial wage? That's what they're looking at here, okay? So do I still get my cash benefit when I use up my trial work period month? Yes, you do. You can make any amount of money during this trial work periods. You can make any amount of money during the trial work periods, and it does not count against you. Again, because it's a trial, okay? So after you use your 9 trial work period months, what happens then? Like, okay, I used them up, I made all this cash. What happens now? What do I do? Okay. So you've exceeded the 9 trial work periods. Lucky for you, there's another stage that is in place that will help the individual. And this is called the extended period of eligibility. And what this is, it basically is another safety net for someone who receives Title II. They're going into the workplace. They've used up their trial work periods. Okay, we use them up. And we see that, hey, you have gone back to work and you are able to earn a decent wage. Okay, that's where it is. You've used that trial. This is the next step. So with the EPE, the extended period of eligibility, it's 36 consecutive month period. This occurs right after the trial work period, whether the individual decides to keep working or not. It runs, the clock runs. And during this time, the individual either gets the full cash benefit or they don't get anything, okay? Depending on where they are, if they earn, and depending on, for 2020, it's 910. And at this point, SSA, the Social Security Administration, has to make a decision if, yes, this person can successfully work and make a decent wage, or no, they can't, so we're going to continue with their SSDI benefit. Okay, that's how that works. So the Title II cash benefit during EPE. Okay, so here's an individual, they're working, they gross $1,260 a month in 2020. They don't receive a cash benefit. Why don't they receive a cash benefit? Remember, I told you if the person earned above the 910 above for 2020 in the trial work period, you would not receive a cash benefit. Here, you have to see this person is earning $1,260 a month. So they're over what SSA considers substantial gainful activity. So they would not be receiving any cash benefit, okay? And here, they earn below the, it's gonna be below the amount for the cash benefit. So they'll receive what they earn as well as what they receive for their cash benefit, okay? So Title II work incentives, earning above $1,260 gross a month in 2020. Lucky for you, such as SSI, there are other things in place to kind of help offset that. So they have things such as impaired related work incentives as well, and the subsidy or special conditions. And these again are work incentives, but on the Title II side that help kind of offset the cost, and it can stop the termination of cash benefits to where they have more cash on hand versus than having their cash benefits terminated altogether. So you've completed your EPE, right? So what happens next? If my mouse will work, okay. So you completed your EPE, the termination from cash benefits. Under this, if you earn under 1,260 or use work incentives and you get your cash benefit, or you either work above the 1,260 and your cash benefit ends. But there is good news. So say, for instance, you're working, you lose your cash benefit, but you're still making a decent living. You're still making a decent income that is way above what you were receiving before. They have the expedited reinstatement. And what this does, say, for instance, a person is working and they've earned above and somehow the business closes. They lose their job and they're like, oh my God, what do I do now? Because I'm not receiving my cash benefit. What happens? What happens? Well, the Social Security Administrator created something that is called the expedited reinstatement. With the expedited reinstatement, a person can lose their job, but they can also are able to contact the SSA, fill out a one-page paper to say, hey, I need my benefits back and I need them now, okay? They will fill this out in the application, and they will also receive 6 months of provisional cash benefits without anything. They will receive 6 months of provisional cash benefits, whether SSA deems them as yes, either they improved in their disability or they have not improved. And they walk away scot-free and not even having to pay the 6 months of provisional cash benefits back, okay? So this is a great safety net for someone who is a Title II recipient. They begin working, they earn, and maybe, God forbid, something happens and they need to get back on their cash benefit. They will contact SSA, fill out this one-page application, and still receive 6 months of provisional cash benefits as well. That's a great safety net. And a lot of people aren't really aware that this is in place and able for individuals to actually have. So what about my Medicare? Because I don't want to lose that either, right? So you get Medicare as long as you receive a Title II cash benefit. Even if with the cash benefit ends due to earnings from work, your Medicare continues for at least 7 3/4. So that's almost 8 years. You'll still receive your Medicare services. You may be able to get help by paying some of the costs as well. And what we actually call this, and I'll actually get into that in a minute, I'm sorry. So with this, you should tell, who should I tell about my job? I'm not sure if this is supposed to be here. I don't think that's supposed to be there. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, back to what about my Medicare? Luckily with this, they have something in place, which is called the EPMC. And what this is, it is extended period of Medicare coverage. So even when a person on SSDI works, say for instance, they lose their cash benefit, and the only way you receive Medicare is if you receive a cash benefit, right? Well, with the extended period of Medicaid eligibility, it still covers you for this 8 years of health coverage even after, okay? That's how that works. And even sometimes, even we also have a program, it's called the Medicaid, the buy-in. And what that does is help with insurance premiums, as you and I would pay, like we pay a monthly premium for healthcare coverage. So for instance, the person is making a substantial amount, so they don't fully qualify for the full health coverage. They could pay a plan of probably $30, $40, depending on what, so they can have the medical coverage that they need, which is helpful as well. So with Title II, because Title II is a lot more complex than SSI, and that is apparent. So with Title II, is there someone who can help me with Title II? Who can I go to? You can also contact the Ticket to Work helpline as well. They also have community work incentive coordinators as well that will help. And then there are also more people. You can also contact the SSA Work Incentive Liaison as well. And then there are even more people. They have the PABs, which is in place, that helps as well. And with Title II, there's also the HICAP, which is the Health Information Counseling and Advocacy Program for local area and agency on aging. And this is the web link here. You contact them, they'll connect you directly to offices that are local in your area and who you can speak with as well. And then we also have the consumer benefit officers at your local community centers. These are all people who can help you as well. So SSI, we're going to wrap this up and put it in as quick layman terms as we can, because SSI, SSDI is not easy. And I'm giving you the small synopsis of the benefits, the programs themselves. So SSI in a nutshell, SSI cash amount is determined by a formula the SSA comes up with. Where did they get it from? I do not know, but that is how they calculate individuals' benefits and what they receive a month. The individual always has more money if they work under the SSI program. This is, in fact, it's been proven. They always have more work and more cash on hand as an SSI recipient. SSI Medicaid, it still continues. You still receive your health coverage even after you earn the $35,973 a year. And again, this is for 2020, and it changes every year. So SSDI, in a nutshell, there are a lot of safety nets and many years that the individual can continue to try and still be attached to the system. And Title II also has provisions for getting back onto the system quickly, and even someone who has terminated from their cash benefits or healthcare benefits, there are things in place to help them, okay? And this is our contact information. You can contact Monty here through email. You can contact me here through email. And this actually is our questionnaire email box. If you have any inquiries regarding, hey, I have this case or I have a situation, either we can direct you to the person directly, we can assist you, or myself as a CWIC, I can also assist you. But even as far as trainings, any trainings we have coming out or anything you have, you can contact us here. And that is kind of what I have today, Cindy. And if anyone has any questions, I can answer them.
So I'm going through the chat. I have unmuted everybody.
Okay.
If I see here somebody asked about what Title II is, is there more questions about that? And if so, if you'll just speak up and ask it, we would appreciate it. We have here, oops, my chat went away. Hold on.
I think I did stop share screen.
Yeah, it's okay. I just have to get back to it.
My question got answered. My real question is there a government publication that one could look at to figure out how to calculate the benefit as you're going along so you don't get any of those surprise letters?
So
And when the yearly change in benefit amount happens?
Okay, so we actually have trainings online that actually walk you through the actual calculation sheets. Our normal trainings, we actually do the calculation sheets, but again, this is like a 45-minute presentation. So it's extremely condensed from a
Sure.
full 4-hour training that we actually provide. So we do have something online that you can go and it kind of walks you through. For your personal benefit, depending on if it's a family member or something, I would recommend you reaching out to the Ticket to Work helpline or CWIC to actually do a benefit and a comparison to show you exactly how it's going to look, and then with the year, the annual changes as well. Because I'm just going to tell you, if you go and you look on the internet and try to figure it out yourself, it is confusing unless you actually have a professional staff who knows what they're doing. It will confuse you and it can discourage you, and I don't want that to happen. So please, please, I encourage you to reach out to a CWIC or one of the Ticket to Work or help through it
Okay.
with you on this
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Is that
Okay. So Shamir, also, what about the WIPA specialists throughout the state? Oh, I think Shamir's frozen.
I'm unfrozen now, I think, yeah. So did that help? Was he able to hear me?
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Are
And
there any other
questions?
questions? No?
Yes, I have one. I'm still confused about, I have an adult daughter who has not worked, and so if she gets a job, is it SSDI, or, I mean, I don't understand when you go from Title I to Title 16. Those two, I'm not sure how.
Well, one, you would have to apply. That's the thing about it. And has your daughter ever worked before?
No.
Does a parent receive Title II or any kind of SSDI benefits?
No.
Then she probably wouldn't qualify.
Okay,
The
so
thing
you
with
go to
Title
SSI.
II,
Okay.
the thing with Title II, you either have to work and put into the system to draw off of it, or your parent has to have put into the system and then you and draw off of it, and then you as a dependent receive benefits under their Title II. Does that make sense?
Yes, so for
with
the most
her,
part, a
probably
child
not.
with a disability is going to be looking at the Title 16.
Right. So
Okay.
with her, if she hasn't, and then you would have to apply for SSI. That's how you, and Social Security Administration would deem if this individual is in fact eligible for SSI. It's
Okay.
not just oh, you get it, you get it, you get it. They would have to deem it based on the application, medical records, and information provided. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Teresa Norton, will you just go ahead and ask your question?
Hi. I'm guessing that my adult daughter, after she turned 18 and then after her father retired or started taking Social Security, he was still working, but started taking Social Security, that's when hers converted to the SSDI, or it shows up as SSR.
That's not always the case. There could be different things in place. Unfortunately, I can't tell you, yes, this is what happened, because I don't know. I would have to have the information in front of me to tell you.
Because I've never understood it, but it's all worked itself out for us. But I'm trying to understand it. So at least I sort of do with what you put. Thank you so much. Your presentation is wonderful. But now I guess I have more questions because I don't know.
You could email me at the email box. You can email me and we could talk offline more in depth if you want more information.
Yeah, because when I have to even try to figure it out, I just need to know.
It's a lot. I tell people all the time, it's a lot. I'm sorry in advance, but it's a lot of information.
Yeah, if you could, Cindy, if you could take and put her her email in the chat box, then we can like link on it and chat.
I can do that now.
Yeah, then we can like directly send it to you. That'd be great.
Okay.
Because I I was starting an email already to you to thank you, Shamir. But now I know
no
I have
problem.
questions. But I didn't capture all of the all of your email.
I have a question if I may, please.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, actually, it's a quick question and a longer one. The quick question is, can you put the final slide back up so I could copy the last email on it, please?
I
And
just included it in the chat box.
okay, thank you. And then my longer question is this. I know somebody who their hours went up, their hours per week increased by 1 hour, and that flipped them over into being a 1619B. And now their hours are back down. And there's an importance of becoming a DAC again because that triggers some military benefits after the parent dies. So can you go backwards from being a 1619B to a DAC?
Okay, so you have to understand the 1619B is the medical. The DAC is the cash benefit.
Okay.
So you have to keep in mind. And then unfortunately, again, I can't tell you per se because I don't have the case information to tell you
Okay.
this happened or no, that happened. There could be a number of things as far as why she went back, as far as even, I mean, there are just so many things that could have taken place if she's a DAC because it's under a parent's record. So it could just be a number of things. It's something that could occur with that parent as well. So
Okay. So the 1619B is just to keep the Medicaid waiver?
yes, no, the
And
medical coverage, not just the waiver, the coverage.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But Linda, you
Okay.
can contact me too if you want to speak. I mean, if you want to
Thank
get
you. I
information.
might do that.
Okay,
Thank you very
definitely.
much.
No
Okay.
problem.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for all this information. My son just now this last year started receiving SSDI plus SSI, and I agree it has become so complicated now keeping up with all of that. So my question is, as you were going through the income limits for SSDI, I got a little confused with the 910 and the 1216. Could you just explain that real quickly again, those two, what they consider gainfully employed, which I guess if you make $1,200, is that correct?
Okay, so with the 910, that is just a number set for the trial work period. So that number is just going to be for the 9 months of the trial work period, whether it's consecutive or not consecutive. If your son works and he earns over 910 or above, basically what Social Security says is, okay, you've earned this amount above the substantial gainful activity, which that means he's earned a substantial wage. Okay, so for the 9 months he's earned over. So what SSA does is said, okay, we're going to look at it, right? So he continues to work, and then with the actual 1260, that amount is like the threshold. This is after the trial work period. That's the threshold. Once you earn over that, you're past substantial gainful activity. There is no more for us to review. You've earned over it. That's what that is.
So
Okay.
do you know when that, I mean, do I just count the 9 months from when you first started getting it?
Well, what you can do that, but also you also need to make sure you're working with some kind of either, whether it's a Texas Workforce Voc Rehab, a case manager. It's great to have someone else within the system of Texas Workforce Voc Rehab or some kind of system that knows what they're doing, or CWIC or something who can kind of help. Okay, he's at month 8, he's getting close. We need to sit and discuss and look over the numbers of what his wages are. Okay, he's completed the 9 trial work periods. Okay, we need to see what his wages are. So it's going to be great to have a case manager or someone to work with you on that aspect. You want to make sure you have someone in the know who know exactly what they're doing. Okay.
So if I emailed you, could you give me the name of could you give me that information, who I might contact for that?
Yes, ma'am, I can. I definitely can.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. No problem. Any other questions? It's a lot of information, I know.
And
just a small synopsis. Usually our training is a full day, and the training we actually took was a full week. So this is very, right, this is very, very small.
So Shamir, I know that the training is usually a full day, and that we kind of pared it down to just 2 hours and even a little bit less than that.
Right.
Is there a way to take portion, like I know that Monty covered what is employment first, and then you covered these other pieces. Is there a way to offer each of those pieces in segments like we did here?
We're actually working on, we're actually working on it now, because we're actually going to be starting to do, for me, doing different webinars, like even if it's just quarterly, we're going to talk about SSI, and this is how it looks, this is how you calculate it, whether it's for an hour and a half. But that's something that we're going to start doing, because I feel like it's needed, like, because some people don't want to know about SSDI, they just want to know SSI, how does it work, how, who do I go to?
Right.
So we're actually working on that now. Hopefully we'll have something flushed out by end of December to where it's rolled out in January.
So we just had a question on the chat as to how can you get signed up to receive information about trainings that are available.
So what I'll do, let me go. I need to pull up the actual training webpage, and I'll send you that link. How about
Thank
that?
you.
At
That'd be
this
wonderful.
moment, we're currently updating our training. So we're in the process of updating everything. We still have some there that you can go and listen to. We haven't removed it, but we're updating it to where it's more current, more interactive as well. But I will send you this link here, and what it'll do, it'll take you to the employment trainings. And also it will keep you up to date on what trainings are going to be taking place in the future and where you can find them. Okay.
That'll be wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Did anybody else have any questions? No? Well, let's see. Oh, that was you. Okay, there it is. So Shamir just put on the chat the link for the trainings. And so what I will do is here in a few minutes, I will try to transfer all of these links, or Shamir, if you don't mind just sending them to me in an email. I will add them to the bottom of the presentation that has been given today, and you will have that as well on the presentation materials.
Okay.
So it'll be all in one spot. I've already added from our discussion yesterday the links that I promised I would add, and so they're already there, and I'll just add the new ones from today. My goal is to have the presentation up and online within 24 to 48 hours. My only thing is I rely on others to make that happen. And so I will post on the self-determination Facebook page once the links to the information is available. We will again post the PowerPoint presentation with additional links. We will post the transcript from our CART services. And we have recorded both of these sessions, and both recordings will be available. Is there anything else I can do to help somebody connect to the information and resources? No? Well, thank you very much. I want to do a quick plug for our last event this month in celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month. On Saturday, we will be screening a film called Bottom Dollars. It is a documentary film about employment history of people with disabilities and what we can do to improve employment outcomes. After the screening of the film, we will have panelist discussion on how to move forward the Employment First initiative in Texas. So I hope you will join us. If you haven't registered, the information is available on the Self-Determination Group Facebook page under our events. If you have questions, please let me know, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And I just want to say thank you again to everybody who participated. One thing I didn't say earlier is that Alex, our president of the group, wanted to say thank you. She's working both days, so she was unable to participate in the trainings, but she wanted to just say thank you all for your participation. So with that, Ms. Shamir, thank you again.
Oh, of
Please
course.
tell Monty thank you. This has been a great 2 days.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you again once the new trainings roll out. We can't wait.
Definitely.
All righty. Well,
Right.
everybody have a good afternoon, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Take
Thank you,
care.
you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.